The winds rushing through the valley as Suho and his knights stand tall, looking over endless land. Suho's holding a shovel like it's his weapon of choice. A flag flaps dramatically in the wind, marking the beginning of something big. Suho steps forward with confidence, proudly introducing himself. My name is Suho Kim. You can already feel he's about to flip this whole world upside down. And then, his little creature squad joins in, screaming their own chants, hyping him up like his personal cheerleaders. Suho switches it up. Nah, in this world he ain't Suho anymore. He's Lloyd Frontera. He twirls his shovel like it's the symbol of his new beginning, smirking with full confidence. Then he slams it into the ground, claiming his place like a boss. A magical grid bursts out around him, glowing with power, while his knight looks on. This is the moment his real story kicks off. A massive grid spreads across the land, glowing like a blueprint for the future. The scene shifts. This is the story of a plain civil engineering student, nothing special. But that same student ends up flipping an entire fantasy world upside down. So, now Lloyd stands with his knight, staring at a city of possibilities rising before their eyes. Lloyd calls out to Javier, his loyal knight, like he's about to drop some groundbreaking revelation. Then he bursts out laughing, arms wide open, shouting that everything he sees is basically money. He laughs like a madman, his voice echoing through the valley, while Javier just stares, wondering if his master has completely lost it. The scene shifts back a few years, setting up how it all began. Out of nowhere, a system notification pops up. Suho gets told he's been chosen to have a random wish granted by something called the Absolute. Another screen pops up, congratulating him like it's some kind of cosmic lottery win. But Suho just stares blankly at the glowing screen on the ground, clearly not impressed with whatever this nonsense is. The system drops the big twist. Suho's now a character inside the novel Night of Blood and Iron. He stares at the message, realizing that's the exact book he was reading last night before all this happened. The system cheers him on with a half-hearted good luck, and party poppers, like throwing him into another world, is some kind of celebration. Suho's confused. What's with this whole wish thing? He hasn't even had a drink, so why is this happening? Then it hits him. Wait, is this one of those web novel cliches where he's possessed someone from another world? He looks around and panics, realizing he's literally lying face down on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Suho shivers, realizing the night air is freezing, his body barely holding up. He freaks out, grabbing his lips. Something feels completely off with his face. The system hits him with a health alert, mocking him that his jaw's gone out of place just from sleeping on the ground. Annoyed, Suho snaps and smacks the glowing alert away, yelling that these pop-ups are driving him crazy. Suho starts piecing it together. He's taken over some character in this novel. But which one? The only guy who fits this situation is... Someone suddenly calls out to him, Master Lloyd. A man approaches, saying he's been searching everywhere, and Suho freezes as reality sets in. He's not just in the novel. He's become Lloyd Frontera, the useless drunk noble he remembers from the story. The man steps into the moonlight. This is Javier Azrahan, the protagonist of the novel Night of Blood and Iron. He tells Lloyd to return to the manor. Suho freezes. Javier looks exactly like how he was described in the book. And more importantly, he just called him Lloyd. In the original story, Javier was destined to become a legendary swordsman, but right now, he's just a nameless knight serving the Frontera family. The narration reveals it. Suho has taken over the body of Baron Frontera's eldest son, and he loses it. He's Lloyd Frontera, the infamous good-for-nothing hooligan of the story. He and Javier just stare at each other in awkward silence, the weight of this ridiculous reality sinking in. Javier calmly tells Lloyd that he never called him a hooligan. He just said his name. Then Javier smirks, saying it's at least good that Lloyd is self-aware of what he is. The system even points out Javier's in a good mood, while Lloyd snaps back, furious, telling it all to shut up. We shift to the manor, where the night continues. Javier calmly pokes the fireplace, asking Lloyd if he even knows how he ended up in such a pathetic state. Then he lays it out, Lloyd started drinking in the afternoon, trashed a pub, and passed out on the way home. Javier says it flatly, calling it the daily routine of a hooligan. Javier explains that Lloyd's father was worried and sent him. Then he adds a jab. Sure, Lloyd may be a hooligan, but he's still the Baron's son, and dying in the road with a broken jaw would only make his father sad. Later, Lloyd's shivering under a blanket, complaining about the cold. He wishes the floor could at least be heated like back in Korea, but then he remembers, this is a medieval fantasy world. No such luck. Javier tells him to rest and says he'll report everything to the Baron in the morning. Lloyd protests, but Javier bluntly says yes. Lloyd can only think to himself how ridiculously uptight this night is. Just as Javier's about to leave, Lloyd calls out to him. Wrapped in a blanket, Lloyd asks hesitantly if their family is buried in debt. Javier pauses, calling it a strange thing for him to suddenly bring up. Without saying more, Javier closes the door, leaving Lloyd alone with his thoughts. Lloyd sits in silence, but deep down he knows. He remembers everything that happens in this story. Just last night, back in his tiny boarding room, he had read the final chapter, and he remembers it clearly. Part 1. The Baron and Baroness lose everything to a con man, stripped of their land and fortune, and end up taking their own lives. Lloyd remembers his fate. After his parents' downfall, he wastes away as a beggar, drowning himself in booze every day. His pathetic end? Coughing up blood and dying just like that. He shoots up in frustration, yelling, "What's the point of being born an aristocrat if he's just going to end up in the same miserable life he had back in Korea?" Lloyd rages at the system. What kind of messed up wish is this? Why would the so-called absolute throw him into the body of a guy doomed to such a trash ending? Morning comes, sunlight spreads across the land, painting the Frontera territory in calm beauty. The manor stands tall under the bright sky, but for Lloyd, this picture-perfect scene hides the storm of problems waiting inside. Lloyd's mother, Marbella Frontera, confronts him. She's heard about the pub incident from last night. Lloyd, trying to keep a straight face, lies that he was reading a book instead. Marbella pleads with him, asking him to at least go and apologize this time. Lloyd sighs, annoyed but resigned. Since it's the mess this body created, he decides he'll take responsibility and clean it up. Both Javier and Marbella stare at Lloyd, completely baffled by his sudden willingness to apologize. Lloyd, meanwhile, fumes inside. Couldn't they at least give him a little credit? The scene shifts to the village, bright daylight casting over the rooftops. A villager is seen working, hauling a bundle of straw, hinting at the everyday life Lloyd is about to walk into. The worker sees Lloyd and Javier walking down the street. His eyes widen in shock, like, oh no, not him. Lloyd and Javier stroll casually, but the worker blurts out aloud, "HUH," completely caught off guard. Panic mode on. The worker scrambles to hide behind a cart and some barrels, try to disappear from sight. Lloyd just tilts his head with a "what's this guy doing?" look. Lloyd and Javier are just standing there in silence, watching what's happening around them. Both look confused, like, what's going on here? The moment they step into the street, people start panicking. Some shuffle away nervously while others outright run. Basically, everyone is scared stiff just by seeing Lloyd. Lloyd looks up and notices a child staring at him curiously from a window. The parent instantly freaks out, yanking the kid back while yelling, "Don't make eye contact!" The window slams shut in a panic, leaving Lloyd standing there like, seriously? The system message pops up. The villagers absolutely detest you. Lloyd just sighs, already expecting it, and mutters, "Yeah, I got that." While walking with Javier, Lloyd casually asks, "By the way, Javier, why are you following me?" Javier, straight-faced, replies that the Lord ordered him to escort Lloyd, so yesterday's mess doesn't repeat. Lloyd blinks, confused. "Escort for me?" Javier cuts in sharply. "Hardly. It's for the villagers. I'm protecting them from you." Lloyd groans, realizing his image. "Ah, so I'm like a gangster." Lloyd smirks to himself, thinking, if I can just shake off this scumbag image, at least I won't starve when I hit rock bottom. But then he gets a sharper thought. No, I'll do even better. If I can clear my family's debt before that happens. Lloyd's daydreaming big. He's like, if I just handle this debt problem, I can live the rest of my life in luxury as a baron's heir. He imagines himself literally swimming in gold, carefree and happy. Reality check. He starts thinking, wait, is there no cheat code or hidden skill I can rely on in this world? So Lloyd finally checks his skills, and wow, he's literally got human scum as a passive. Basically, everyone automatically hates him. And the second one? Rowdy drunkard, a skill that turns him into a total menace when he's drunk. What kind of cursed skill set is this? He starts flailing his arms around like he's about to cast some next-level spell, but it just looks ridiculous. Javier on the side is straight up confused like, what is this guy even doing? Javier calls out, asking where Lloyd is going, but Lloyd himself has no idea. He's caught off guard mid-act like, huh? What? Totally exposed while pretending he knows what he's doing. Javier points out the pub, straight up asking Lloyd if he was lying about apologizing. Lloyd panics and tries to play it off like, no, I was just thinking. Javier's face says it all. He's clearly not buying Lloyd's excuse. That cold stare could freeze anyone. Lloyd gets flustered, sweating bullets, acting clueless like, wait, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Javier brushes it off, tells him it's nothing, and calmly insists they should just go inside already. Classic straight man energy against Lloyd's chaotic mess. Lloyd pushes open the door, trying to sound all polite like, hello, excuse me, as if he didn't cause chaos last night. Javier, watching him go in, thinks to himself, something about Lloyd feels completely different, like he's not the same guy anymore. The camera shifts inside the pub. Absolute wreck. Broken tables and chairs are scattered everywhere like a hurricane passed through. Then we see the wall cracked with a bull skull still hanging there, basically screaming, yeah, this dude went wild. Lloyd immediately drops to his knees and bows, apologizing for everything that happened last night. The pub owner, on edge, freezes up like he's about to be attacked, assuming Lloyd is up to no good again. Lloyd insists he's being serious, but the old man gets even more terrified because a notorious scumbag suddenly being polite feels even more dangerous than his usual rowdy behavior. Lloyd's like, fine, if being polite didn't work, I'll just act a bit cocky. He throws out the most half-hearted apology ever, totally swaggering like he doesn't even mean it. The pub owner is literally sweating bullets, backing down instantly. He's so scared he basically begs Lloyd not to apologize at all. That's how bad his rep is. Lloyd freezes for a second, realizing, wow, even trying to apologize is making things worse. The scene shifts, calm sky vibes, basically the next day transition. Lloyd's like, bruh, even after I apologized, the guy didn't look that happy. And Javier? Cool as ever. He's like, well, yeah, that's kinda obvious. Javier's straight up reminding Lloyd that everything he wrecked yesterday wasn't just stuff. It was the pub owner's blood, sweat, and tears money put into those chairs and decorations. Lloyd's sweating bullets now, thinking, bro, we're already drowning in debt. How am I supposed to pay this guy back? He's realizing that fixing his reputation isn't just about saying sorry. It's going to cost real cash. The reality hits him. If they don't clear that mountain of debt, literally nothing changes. And the worst part? He has no clue how to even start fixing it. Big question looming, but how? Javier's like, not only that, the pub owner's mom is sick after the late winter cold. Basically, dude's already buried in problems. Lloyd flashes back, remembering how cold the pub felt. He's like, yeah, one fireplace isn't heating the whole place. As they walk, Lloyd thinks it through. Old folks can't survive that kind of chill. Then he drops the thought, unless they had ondal floors. Lloyd suddenly freezes mid-step, his mind racing. Then, boom, he blurts out, I've got it. His eyes widen like he just cracked the code to life itself. In his head, it's like a light bulb literally sparks to life, buzzing and glowing. He's finally hit an idea that might just change everything. Lloyd's eyes widen in shock, realization hitting him like a jolt of lightning. A literal light bulb moment. Electric sparks fly as the idea clicks in his head. He stares ahead with determination, a blueprint of floor heating popping up in his mind. There are no Ondal floors here. His thoughts race. If he builds them in this world, they'd be a guaranteed hit. The villagers are losing their minds because they know Lloyd's trash reputation. Like, this dude was never capable of anything serious. But Lloyd snaps back like, yo, that's not the real me. The actual me, Suho Kim, has the skills to pull this off. Big main character energy moment. Flashback time. He reveals he studied civil engineering back in school and even built a house during his time as a military engineer. Basically, Lloyd might look useless, but Suho's brain is packed with real-world skills ready to change the game. He's like, yo, I've literally busted my back on construction sites day and night. Dude's carrying heavy bricks, showing off his grind from the past. Then boom, he clenches his fist with that confident smirk. This is it. With my skills, I'll wipe out all the Baron's debt. Finally, he's got a plan to flip his misfortune into a win. Lloyd striding forward with energy, shouting back at Javier to head back to the pub. Javier's just standing there like, why though? Lloyd turns with this huge, confident grin and yells that he's going to get his first order. He's fired up. You can see he finally has a plan. And right then, ding dong, a system notification appears, declaring that his true journey has just begun. The system unlocks a new feature, relationship points. Lloyd can now rack up RP by improving bonds with key characters, basically turning his messed up life into a live RPG. Lloyd stares at the floating windows, eyes wide like, relationship points? Did I just get thrown into some weird dating sim? Lloyd's trying to figure it out, thinking RP might just be like EXP points, but the system doesn't explain how to actually use them. The system tells him straight up, he can earn RP by improving relationships with key characters. Lloyd glances over at Javier and instantly realizes what's up. The system flashes Javier's approval rating, and it's at a brutal -30. Lloyd knows immediately that's insanely low. Lloyd tries to start small talk, all sly. Hey, Javier. Javier, polite as ever, goes, yes, Master Lloyd. And then Lloyd drops the cheesiest line ever, straight up telling Javier he's good looking. Bro thinks compliments will buy him points. System immediately calls him out. Javier's approval rating just dropped from -30 to -31. Javier's like, yeah, I already know that. And Lloyd panicking like, wait, what? Why'd it go down? Now Lloyd's sweating bullets, realizing if he keeps pushing, it's only going to backfire. So he's like, let's leave this for later. Rushing it will just make things worse. Meanwhile, Javier's just standing there like, we see the pub sign swinging. Yup, Lloyd's about to make this place his new business office. Lloyd's sitting down with paper and pen, looking all serious for once. He's like, so you're the buyer, and I'll be the builder. Acting like he's running an actual company now. Now, he's laying it out. We'll cancel out all the damages with my construction work. Bro really turned his destruction into a business proposal. Then he points at the paper like, all right, sign here. The pub owner just stares at Lloyd with that, I don't trust you one bit look. Suspicion written all over his face. And boom, the system calls it. Pub owner straight up activates Stonewall Heart. Basically max defense mode against Lloyd's nonsense. Lloyd's like, damn, my plan can't flop already. He's stressed, but decides if he has to pull out a desperate move, he'll do it. Lloyd's inner voice kicks in. Screw it. Let's use my hooligan rep. He's done playing nice. He puts on his unhinged face, leaning in all creepy. We're going to be seeing each other a lot, so let's trust each other, okay? He's half threat, half beg. The pub owner cracks under pressure, sweating bullets, scribbling his name down as fast as possible. Meanwhile, the system window roasts Lloyd like, wow, you're absolute garbage. Lloyd, instead of feeling shame, is just like, yeah, but it worked. Lloyd's hyped. He's clutching the signed contract like it's the golden ticket, grinning ear to ear. Man finally bagged his first order. He's putting on this fake confident act, telling the pub owner he won't regret choosing him. Meanwhile, Javier's just standing there deadpan, already doubting every word Lloyd says. The scene shifts to a clear sky, giving off that calm before the storm vibe. Lloyd's already on site with a shovel in hand, planning the pub's construction. He's thinking that since it's just going to be a small and cozy place, there's no need to get super technical with the measurements. Javier calls out to Lloyd, serious as always, while Lloyd looks back casually. Javier accuses him of forcing the pub owner into signing, basically asking if he's just inventing new ways to stir up trouble. Lloyd stays quiet, his expression sharp, like he's hiding something. This time it's Lloyd speaking. He tells Javier that he's not as reasonable as he seems and drops the term cognitive distortion, leaving Javier confused and repeating the phrase back. Lloyd's like, if you judge someone's future actions just by what they did in the past, that's not facts, it's cognitive distortion. Basically your brain clinging to prejudice and negativity. Javier cuts back coldly. That's not prejudice. It's logic. It's based on actual experience and statistics. Lloyd smirks and counters. And aren't experience and statistics all still from the past? Lloyd's throwing facts while holding his stick. Meanwhile, Javier's inner thoughts are like, wait, since when was this guy such a smooth talker? Lloyd looks straight up determined, saying, I'll make them smile. He keeps at it, stomping the shovel into the ground. The pub owner and his mother, I'll make them smile for sure. Close up on the shovel digging in, Lloyd thinking, because those smiles. He swings the shovel like a madman, grinning wide. Will be the foundation of my money-making. Lloyd's grinding away like scoop dirt, move dirt, pack dirt, repeat. Dude's basically a one-man construction crew, and Javier's just chilling in the back like a supervisor. He's got the timber from the barren stash and is going all in on that traditional timber frame build. Bang! Clang! It's like watching a DIY speedrun. Clay walls? Done. Structure standing tall? Done. Lloyd flops down like he just built Rome in a day, shouting Tada. Now he's sprawled out, gasping for air, sweating buckets, and whining like, man, this body is way too weak. Big talker, but reality's smacking him hard. Lloyd's on the ground, drained and covered in sweat. Javier, cool as ever, is like, that didn't take long. Meanwhile, Lloyd is fuming. Bro, it took me a whole week. Javier's deep in thought, low-key shocked. He's thinking, wait, this dude's actually building something? Where the hell did he even learn this? Could he really be serious about the pub contract? Nah, this is Lloyd Frontera we're talking about. No way. Lloyd's body is wobbling, trembling with exhaustion. He groans, ugh, I'm so sore, but forces himself to stand tall anyway. No time to rest. Man's grinding through pure willpower now. Lloyd is trembling as he struggles to lift the axe, sweat dripping down his face. He groans in exhaustion. With shaky arms, Lloyd forces himself to raise the axe high above his head, his whole body trembling. As Lloyd swings down, his body staggers out of control. His eyes widen in panic. Yeah. Just before he collapses, Javier suddenly reaches out and firmly grabs the axe handle, stopping Lloyd's fall. Javier firmly grabs Lloyd by the shoulder, steadying him after his near accident with the axe. Lloyd looks startled, eyes wide, realizing how close he was to messing up. Javier takes the axe into his own hands, firmly gripping it as if saying, I'll handle this part. Lloyd looks on, caught off guard. Javier, now ready to work, asks calmly, what do you need me to do? Lloyd quickly explains, I need thin little pieces of wood, each about 2 hands length tall, 1 hand's length wide, and 1 finger thick. Javier casually tosses the logs into the air with a calm, confident expression. With sharp focus, Javier swings the axe with incredible force and precision. In a stunning display, Javier slices the logs mid-air into perfect, thin pieces, the fragments scattering dramatically around him. The wooden planks fall to the ground with a loud clatter. Lloyd's eyes widen in complete shock as he stares in disbelief. Looking at Javier's overwhelming sword skill with just an axe, Lloyd thinks in awe, whoa, truly this is someone about to become a master swordsman. And then he smirks, realizing the advantage. Who needs modern equipment? Lloyd places his hand on Javier's shoulder, looking a bit sly yet serious as he says, Javier. Lloyd smiles while holding a shovel and asks, when you're done, why don't you help me with the digging? Javier glares in disbelief, thinking, instead of thanking me, he gives me more work to do. This man truly is hopeless. System message. Javier regrets his decision. Lloyd tries to persuade Javier, pointing out that his real reason for helping is curiosity about how things will unfold. He slyly pushes the idea that if Javier wants to see results faster, he'll need to join in. Lloyd, with a mischievous grin and shovel in hand, declares confidently, "By doing it together." Javier looks conflicted, sweat forming as he hesitates, his silence showing his inner struggle. Javier's thoughts surface. He's not wrong. He's completely changed since a few days ago, but his past makes him utterly impossible to trust. Both Lloyd and Javier are working side by side, digging hard with their tools. Javier thinks to himself, "All I can do is hurry this up to see." Javier's face is filled with determination as he shovels the dirt with full force, sweat dripping down his face. Lloyd, equally exhausted but pushing forward, flings dirt away with all his strength. Fling! Lloyd swings the shovel dramatically through the air with a flourish, like he's about to unleash a finishing move. The shovel slams hard in the ground, slam, sealing his final effort. He stands proudly in front of the newly finished building, raising his arm and shouting, "Construction!" With all his energy, Lloyd throws his fist in the air and yells, "Complete!" while Javier watches from behind. Javier stares at the strange carved mark on the building. "Are those letters?" he asks. Lloyd grins. "Yeah, it's my brand's logo." Javier looks confused. "A logo?" Lloyd brushes it off. "It's a thing." Lloyd turns with a sly smirk. "Right, Javier. Shall we go find out? What sort of con I've cooked up for the pub owner?" Lloyd finishes confidently. Javier remains silent, his face showing doubt and annoyance as he stares at Lloyd. The wind's howling through the trees, setting up that dramatic vibe. Cut to the fireplace, logs crackling and popping, heat filling the room. Outside shot of the house, chimney puffing smoke. Yeah, the place is alive now. The pub owner and his mom hit the floor, overwhelmed by the warmth. She's like, "Dear me," while they both just soak in the comfort, saying it's lovely. The grandma is melting into comfort, saying all her stiff joints feel relaxed now. The pub owner is shocked, touching the heated floor like, "Wait, how's this even possible?" Lloyd smirks, realizing just how mind-blowing this is for people in this world. The grandma freaks out, calling it the magic of the Ondal floor, as if it's some kind of sorcery. The pub owner gets emotional, thanking Lloyd. He's shocked to see his mother, genuinely smiling after so long. Javier watches closely, realizing, just like Lloyd said, the pub owner and his mother are actually smiling. Javier reflects, surprised. Not only has Lloyd changed his tone and manners, but now he's working hard, following through on his promises, and earning the people's trust. Javier's thoughts are all over the place. He can't believe Lloyd might have done all this just to make those two smile. But then he admits it to himself. Somehow, it actually happened. The pub owner and his mother are glowing with happiness, smiling brighter than ever. Javier finally softens up a little, realizing, yeah, those two are genuinely happy right now. Then boom, system notification pops up. Lloyd just gained +2 approval points with Javier. But when the total shows up, still sitting at a sad -29. Even with progress, Lloyd's got a long road ahead. Lloyd just scored relationship points like it's a video game. 36 RP unlocked for not being a complete menace. He cracks a sly little smile, clearly proud of himself. Man's acting like he just beat the tutorial level. Lloyd's like, I know what you're thinking, wow, I'm actually not total garbage. Javier, stone cold, nope. Lloyd smirks back, yeah, you are. Javier doubles down, I am not. Lloyd's like, yeah, we spent way too much on timber, and this whole thing is a total financial loss. But then he's smirking because that's not the real play here. He reveals the truth. This house isn't about profit, it's his model house. Basically a flex piece, something he'll use as bait to pull in bigger opportunities. Fast forward a few days, and boom, people are lining up outside, curious about this new setup. Lloyd's gamble is already paying off. One dude steps out of the room, steaming like a boiled lobster, saying he legit thought he was going to melt. Everyone else in line is shook like no way it's that hot in there. Lloyd jumps in with his salesman energy, hyping it up. He's like, crazy warm, right? Bet you'd kill to have a room like this at your own place, huh? Tapping the table like a true hustler. ready to close the deal. Lloyd's out here full salesman mode. He's like, style A? Extra house in your yard. Style B? Boom, upgrade your current home. And then he tries to bait them with, order both, and I'll even toss in a 10% discount. Man's basically the medieval version of a shady infomercial. But the villager's just standing there, sweating like a no. I don't think so. Meanwhile, the system drops the truth bomb. The villagers don't trust you. And Lloyd, he's still pushing, come on, we're going to see each other all the time. So let's just trust each other, yeah? Classic desperate salesman energy. Lloyd trying to sell a har like, bro, at this price, I'm basically giving it away. He's throwing all his energy into convincing them. But then, boom, someone calls out his name. Lloyd freezes, looking like he just got caught mid-scam. And it's his dad, Lloyd Frontera, stepping in with that cold stare like, boy, what do you think you're doing? Yeah, you already know Lloyd's in trouble. Bro just got hit with that notification. His approval rating dropped straight to -20. Man's basically in the negatives now. Lloyd's like, bruh. You can see him sweating, realizing this is not the W he thought it was. We shift over to the big mansion, setting up the next scene. Dinner time, but the atmosphere is tense. Lloyd and his father sit at opposite ends of this long table, and the silence is louder than the clinking of their utensils. Lloyd sneaks a nervous glance, clearly uneasy about the whole situation. It's actually Lloyd thinking here. He's low-key panicking like, man, I've been dodging my dad all this time. But what if he shuts down my whole building plan? Lloyd, mid-bite with his sausage, freezes as his dad cuts straight to business. All right, spill it. The tension is real. Arco stares him down and demands, what are you scheming this time? Classic dad interrogation moment. Lloyd's like, let's keep it short. Pub owner wanted an on-doll room, so I built one. He's even putting on that classic rude Lloyd voice. His dad's munching and goes, so the rest of the villagers are ordering too? Lloyd's like, you already know the deal. Then Pops hits him with a serious line. These are our people. I won't let you scam or lie to them. Lloyd's like, yeah, chill, I wasn't even planning on scamming anyone. But deep down he's thinking, no matter what I do, people still assume the worst about me. He quickly tries to dip, standing up like, if we're done here, I'm out. In his head, though, run, bro. Run before this convo gets worse. But his dad cuts in sharp, asking, is this all cause of the family situation? Basically calling him out like, you see what's happening, don't act clueless. You've got eyes and ears. Lloyd's dad is like, relax, I'll handle it. Don't get too deep into this mess. Lloyd stands up quietly, not saying much, but his face shows he's deep in thought. In his head, he's like, I've heard this before. Flashback hits, it's his father again in the past, smiling and saying, don't worry, everything will be fine, just focus on studying. Lloyd's inner thoughts hit hard. He's like, man, I really thought things would turn out fine. But reality? Not even close. He clenches his jaw, thinking, liar. I know things are messed up, and pretending otherwise won't change it. Determined, Lloyd makes up his mind. I'm done being miserable over stupid money. Never again. Lloyd's dad is trying to reassure him, saying he won't give up, so Lloyd shouldn't either. But Lloyd reflects, thinking back a few years ago, wishing he had actually said those words back to his father at that time. Now, snapping back to the present, Lloyd's in full-on business mode, tallying up the numbers. He's got 32 orders for Style A and 57 for Style B, and half the payments are already in. Lloyd's walking down the hall deep in thought, but suddenly some footsteps interrupt him. Two guys appear, moneylenders Meatloaf and Shiloh, clearly not here for a friendly visit. Lloyd notices how they don't even acknowledge him, thinking, I'm literally the Lord's son, and they're ignoring me? Then it clicks for him. He recognizes exactly who those two are. The tension shifts, door creaks open, and it's time for the real confrontation. The moneylenders barge in, throwing accusations straight at Lloyd's father, pressing him on the overdue deal. They don't hold back, straight-up threatening action if the barren doesn't pay up. Lloyd's dad sits silent, looking cornered. The moneylenders yelling at Lloyd's dad, basically saying, sell some stuff if you're broke. Meanwhile, Lloyd pops his head through the door like he's been waiting for this. Lloyd smirks, thinking this couldn't have been a better setup. He's full-on grinning now, This is the exact opening he was looking for, and he's about to flip the situation to his advantage. Lloyd checks his points. He's sitting at 36 RP now. He realizes he earned them by improving Javier's approval rating, but now he's stuck wondering how to actually use them. Suddenly, the system pops up and tells him he can invest RP to gain abilities. Lloyd's like, finally, this thing decides to explain itself. The system hits him with a pop-up like forget it, and Lloyd's just like, all right, chill, stop. Suddenly, the whole place feels like it's buffering, clicks echoing everywhere. Out of nowhere, a glowing magic circle lights up under his feet, buzzing with energy. Something big's about to go down. Lloyd's body starts glowing with blue light. System messages popping up. He just unlocked new skills like soil mechanics, hydraulics, and structural mechanics. The flood of skills keeps coming. Steel structure, sewage theory, advanced design programming, all loading into his head at once. The system hits him with a "you know more than you look" message, and Lloyd snaps back, yelling that of course he does. He's a scholarship student. The system drops a new screen, showing skills he can unlock with his RP. Lloyd stares at it, confused, trying to figure out what those skills even mean. Then he shrugs it off, saying screw it. He's got enough points, might as well click and find out. Lloyd suddenly gets blasted with green light, his whole body shaking as the system force installs a new skill. He's screaming like, what the hell is happening to me? The power surges out, throwing him straight through the window with a loud burst. He's still yelling his lungs out, completely overwhelmed. And then boom, it clicks. Lloyd realizes this new surveying skill lets him literally see the land in grids with just his own eyes. No tools, no GPS, nothing. He's basically unlocked a cheat vision for construction. Lloyd unlocks the skill basic design, and suddenly he's sketching glowing 3D blueprints in the air like it's second nature. He realizes this skill's a total game changer. Planning will be way easier now, but he doubts if Javier alone can keep up with the actual construction work. He clicks his tongue, wishing he could just summon some heavy machinery instead of relying purely on manpower. The system suddenly pops off again, telling Lloyd there actually is a way to summon something. Lloyd jumps up in shock, staring at the glowing screen like, wait, what? And boom, the system lays it out. A random summon feature, like some premium gacha ad, offering unique partners with skills and personalities. Lloyd's already suspicious. It feels more like a scam than a blessing. Lloyd squints at the screen, kind of confused, like trying to see what this new option is all about. Turns out it's a random summon game, and the system's basically like, one spin equals 50 RP. Yeah, classic pay-to-win vibes. Lloyd's annoyed, rolling his eyes like tisk as if, I only got 1 RP left. He knows he's way too broke to even try it. Lloyd's like, a summon, huh? Low-key curious, but also sus about what that really means. We see this wild imagery, giant beasts, dragons, mythical creatures. He's thinking, bruh, if that's what I think it is, imagining the potential chaos and power. Then he flips it, not in awe of the monsters, but already scheming. Yo, this could actually be as useful as heavy machinery. Man's brain immediately goes to construction hacks, not fighting. Lloyd's brain is racing. He's locked in. The only thing on his mind, I need RP, whatever it takes. And then it hits him. There's only one real way to farm points. Key characters have to like him. That's the only grind path forward. The moneylender slams the table, calling out Baron Frontera's name. He leans in, saying if there's no money, he's got a suggestion. With a disgusting grin, he suggests selling the Baroness and her ladies for cash. The Baron explodes in anger, shouting at him in shock and rage. Lloyd fires back, saying just because they're lenders doesn't mean they can act without respect. He casually drapes his arm around the moneylender, completely throwing him off balance. The guy freaks out, jumps back, and demands to know who Lloyd even is. The moneylender recognizes Lloyd and mocks him for being the son with peculiar manners. Lloyd doesn't even entertain their nonsense. He cuts straight in demanding proof, a warrant. The moneylenders are stunned, totally caught off guard by his boldness. Lloyd starts citing the Royal Family and Nobility Act, flexing legal knowledge like a pro. He drops the key section, basically calling out that barging into a noble house without a warrant is straight-up trespassing. The moneylenders freak out, yelling in disbelief like they've never even heard of such a law before. Lloyd smirks and says, "Oh, you didn't know? Then let's go find out together." He suddenly calls out loudly, "Javier!" A calm voice replies, "Yes, Master Lloyd?" As footsteps approach. Javier steps into the room, sword at his side, looking sharp and ready. Lloyd's face turns sharp and dangerous. He coldly orders Javier to cut off the trespasser's arm. The moneylenders freeze, freaking out and yelling that they'll sue if he dares. But Lloyd just smirks, calm and unbothered, reminding them, "Like I said, let's go find out." Javier draws his sword, ready to enforce Lloyd's command and make it clear this isn't an empty threat. The moneylenders are completely shook, their bravado gone as fear takes over. Fear takes over. Both of them panic and bolt for the exit, throwing out empty threats while scrambling away. In their desperate retreat, they slam the door shut behind them, running off without daring to look back. Lloyd's acting all smug, brushing off the lenders like they're clowns not worth his time. But his dad's stressed, calling out to Lloyd and Javier, clearly panicking about what just went down. The Baron slams the table, yelling at Lloyd, worried they don't have the money to actually fight back. And Lloyd casually drops a heavy bag of coins on the table, shocking his father with the sudden reveal. Lloyd acts calm, saying he was going to hand the money over after collecting from the orders, but this bag should cover most of the month's interest. The Baron flips out, accusing Lloyd of squeezing money out of their people and calling it extortion. Javier steps in, telling the Baron not to worry. He promises he'll personally make sure Lloyd fulfills the orders. Lloyd notices that his father fully trusts Javier just by looking at his expression. Lloyd and Javier decide to leave the room together. The two step out, their footsteps echoing through the hall. Javier questions how Lloyd even knew about such a law, thinking Lloyd was clueless, but Lloyd brushes it off, saying he just picked it up somewhere. Lloyd's words echo. This whole mess connects back to Javier. We see Javier at the graves, the weight of tragedy heavy on him after the Baron and Baroness's deaths. To make it worse, those same loan sharks even try to dig up and sell the bodies, showing just how vile they really are. Lloyd remembers Javier invoking the law in the book, quoting it word for word. In that scene, Javier uses the law as justification before brutally executing the loan sharks. And later, when brought before a judge, Javier is declared not guilty, just as the book described. Lloyd's walking alongside Javier, and he's thinking to himself that knowing the story from the book is basically his cheat code right now. He smirks, already expecting the system to reward him, thinking a pop-up should be showing up any second. Ding, there it is. The system notifies him that Baron Frontera's approval rating of him just went up by 6 points. Lloyd's plan works. He gains a big boost in RP for building trust with a key character. He smirks confidently, already scheming his next move. His eyes gleam as he declares he's ready for his summon. The night falls under a full moon, the perfect time for something secretive. Lloyd heads to an empty training ground, ready to make his move. He double-checks, scanning around carefully to make sure no one's watching. Lloyd calls out the summon game, ready to spend his RP. He slams the start button without hesitation. Suddenly, a blinding green light bursts out, shocking him as the game kicks in. The gears start grinding together, lighting up with energy. The summoning has begun. The glowing gears shoot into the sky, spinning and forming a massive circle of light. Lloyd stares up wide-eyed, shocked. He realizes he's looking at an actual magic circle forming right in front of him. The summon kicks in, gears and runes light up. Lloyd's thinking, wow, this looks way too over the top. Then reality hits. This huge spell circle shrinks into this tiny, noisy thing. Lloyd just standing there like, seriously? That's it? And before he can even complain more, the circle bursts out with a blinding flash, signaling the real summoning is about to go down. Out of the flashy summon, a chubby little hamster pops out with a loud cry. Lloyd just stands there, deadpan like, really? That's it? The hamster plops down right by his feet, small and harmless. Then it perks up, cheeks puffed, and looking all happy like it was the grand prize all along. Lloyd just stands there staring at the little creature like, what the hell even is this thing? He clicks his tongue, annoyed, already labeling it a dud summon. But then the little guy's face shifts, sad, teary-eyed, like it's realizing it's useless and unwanted. The little guy suddenly yells out, insisting he's not useless. Lloyd turns back, confused, wondering if this puffball can actually help. Lloyd's skeptical. He mocks the hamster, joking about shooting acorns. But the hamster refuses to back down and demands to prove itself. The hamster stuffs something in its cheeks, chewing with determination. Then it spits out a nasty water-like blob, and Lloyd recoils in disgust, totally grossed out by what just hit the ground. Lloyd's sitting there, deadpan, holding soggy papers like, great, this is the Podong user manual. Turns out the little furball is officially introduced. Podong's just a cute hamster, and apparently you're supposed to give him lots of love. And here's the kicker. Feed Podong sunflower seeds, and his size can actually change. The manual explains the red sunflower seeds make Podong grow into a giant beast, but only for 12 hours. The blue sunflower seeds shrink him back to normal, but you gotta use them before that 12-hour timer runs out. Lloyd reads that one set of both seeds costs just 1 RP, meaning this hamster isn't just a pet, he's literally an investment. Lloyd squats down, curious, asking how big this tiny furball can get. He thinks out loud. If this hamster can grow to human size, it could actually be useful. He feeds it a red seed. Podong chomps down hard, crunching the seed like its life depends on it. Podong starts glowing right after eating the red seed, his whole body lighting up as the change kicks in. Lloyd gets smacked right in the face as Podong's body rapidly grows bigger. The force sends Lloyd flying, and he ends up crashing to the ground hard. Lloyd stumbles back in shock, eyes wide, like he can't believe what he's seeing. Right in front of him, Podong towers up, not 15 feet, but over 30 feet tall, shaking the ground with its massive size. The giant hamster looks down with a smug grin, clearly proud of itself, while Lloyd realizes this creature is way too cocky for its own good. Lloyd checks out Podong's first skill, digging, level 1. And instantly, Podong shows off, digging through the ground like a little beast. Then boom, another skill pops up, packing dirt, level 2. Podong starts swirling and compacting dirt like a pro, proving he's way more than just a cute face. Lloyd's system drops a new update. Podong just unlocked cheek pockets level 1. Basically, the hamster's cheeks aren't just cute, they're storage units. Podong immediately flexes, puffing up his cheeks like balloons. Dude looks like he's about to smuggle half the continent inside his mouth. Then out of nowhere, he spits out a giant muddy boulder stray from his cheeks. The rock slams to the ground with a splash, nearly soaking Lloyd. Lloyd, instead of being grossed out, is hyped. He calls it jackpot. To him, Podong isn't just a hamster anymore. He's literal heavy-duty construction equipment. Lloyd's pacing around thinking, if I show up with this giant hamster out of nowhere, people are going to start asking questions. Then he smirks, already cooking up a cover story. Easy fix. I'll just carry a summoning book and say I'm a summoner. Problem solved. Lloyd's fired up, already moving on to the next step. He's like, all right, time to sort out the labor for this whole construction project. Confident and ready to put his plan into action. The scene shifts to the wide fields and mountains, setting up the construction site. Lloyd gathers a group of soldiers by the river, shouting for them to repeat after him. With full energy, he declares safety first, holding a shovel like a commander. The soldiers look totally confused, repeating the words awkwardly, not really getting what he means. Lloyd's annoyed, realizing these soldiers are just freeloaders wasting away while the Baron's drowning in debt. But then he smirks. Turns out that waste is basically free labor for him to exploit. Without missing a beat, he rallies them like a commander, reminding them they're soldiers, and this is their army now. Lloyd's yelling at the soldiers, saying the whole point of the army is to actually do work, not just sit around. He even throws in that back when he was in the army. He spent more time digging and pulling weeds than training. Now he points at a huge pile of clay, claiming he stayed up all night, digging it up to prove his point. But in reality, it was Podong who dug all of that in just 30 minutes. Lloyd's just flexing like it was his effort. Lloyd hypes the soldiers up, announcing this is the start of the estate's big comeback. He calls it the Ondal Construction Project, and he wants everyone to haul that clay over to the site. The soldiers aren't feeling it at all. Their faces scream, "We did not sign up for this." Lloyd sees their reactions but stays calm. He already knew this would happen, and he's got something else in mind. Newman steps up to Lloyd, calling out to him directly. Newman, the senior knight, questions Lloyd about what exactly he's making his men do. Lloyd smirks confidently, already expecting Newman to challenge him on this. The story lays it out. This land's got 3 knights. Newman, who we're seeing right now, Byron his right hand, and then the real protagonist of the novel, Javier Azrahan. Back in the book, when the estate crumbled, Javier and Byron stayed loyal to the very end. But Newman? Yeah, this guy was the first to bail on the Baron. Why? Because Newman was busy selling out the Baron's secrets to con men, throwing him into massive debt before running away. Lloyd looks at him with cold eyes, thinking, no way someone this shady should be holding the title of the land's foremost knight. Lloyd's all smiles, swinging his shovel like it's no big deal, and casually asks Newman what it looks like he's doing. Newman isn't having it. He straight up calls Lloyd out for making his men roll around in the dirt, saying as their commander, he's not going to let this nonsense slide. But Lloyd? Completely unfazed. He basically says, cut the crap. You're just salty because I'm actually about to make money and fix these debts. And he seals it off by reminding him that he's got Daddy's permission backing him up. Newman calls out Lloyd, questioning his past behavior and how he managed to convince the Lord. He accuses Lloyd of only using his men for selfish reasons and not for the estate's benefit. Lloyd stays calm, almost smug, asking if Newman is really sure he's wrong. Lloyd's like, yeah, you're right, but you can already tell he's about to flip the table with what comes next. He drops it cold, basically threatening Newman straight to his face, telling him he'll get beat down if he keeps this up. Newman loses it completely, veins popping, face twitching, and Lloyd just casually roasts him in his head, saying this guy would rage quit in an online game within seconds. Lloyd slams his shovel into the ground, clearly setting something up. He swings the shovel at Newman, sending dirt flying all over him. The soldiers watching are in total shock, not believing what they just saw. Newman blocks the dirt with his arm, but his anger is boiling. His boots are dirty, and he's trembling with rage. He completely snaps, yelling that Lloyd insulted a knight's honor and mocking him as just the son of a broke baron. Lloyd straight up taunts Newman, acting like he didn't hear him properly, and suggests they drop the formalities and fight it out. He twirls his shovel like a weapon, showing he's dead serious. Then he points the shovel right at Newman, basically calling him out and setting the stage for a showdown. Lloyd smirks and officially throws down the challenge. He's ready for a duel. Newman loses it, swearing he'll make Lloyd regret ever mocking him. Lloyd's duel with Newman officially gets set for 1 month later. Javier steps in, asking if Lloyd's actually confident about winning. Lloyd, being his usual self, admits with zero shame that he's absolutely not confident at all. Lloyd's ranting hard. He's like, Newman's a legit sword expert with mana heart in me? I'm a total nobody. Were you even thinking when you set this up? Javier's hand tightens on his sword, and he's literally 1 second away from just slashing Lloyd out of pure frustration. Lloyd sprawls back on the bed, looking smug while Javier's thoughts hit. This dude just threw dirt in Newman's face, challenged him, and now he's acting casual. Yeah, he's back to his old reckless, hooligan ways. Lloyd's whole scheme is way too thought out. He even asked the Baron to separate them just so he could pick a fight. He put Byron in charge of overseeing the soldiers, but now he's acting like he's not confident about the duel. Javier can't make sense of him. Lloyd shifts the mood, suddenly telling Javier there's something he needs him to do. Lloyd straight up asks Javier to teach him how to use a sword. Javier coldly refuses without a second thought. Lloyd is shocked and demands to know why. Javier calmly explains his job is only to watch Lloyd, and honestly, if a guy like Lloyd learned the sword, the world would just be in more danger. Harsh, but facts. Lloyd presses again, asking if Javier really doesn't want to teach him. Then he smirks and drops a bomb, hinting that Javier's insomnia might be the real issue. Javier freezes, shocked that Lloyd somehow knows about his secret struggle. Lloyd flexes with a smirk, dropping the bomb that he even knows the root cause of Javier's insomnia. The narration lays out the knight hierarchy, starting from low-level sword expert all the way up to swordmaster. Javier is shown radiating power, right at the brink of crossing from high-level sword expert to swordmaster. His senses so sharp that sleep is impossible. And the conclusion? His insomnia isn't random. It's literally the side effect of being on the edge of becoming a swordmaster. Lloyd corners Javier with the truth, telling him there's no use pretending. His insomnia is written all over his face. Javier sighs, realizing he's got no way out of this. Finally, he agrees to teach, and Lloyd lights up instantly, making sure there are no takebacks. Javier is convinced Lloyd will fail. He's tried every remedy under the sun, and nothing worked. But the moment he sits down, Javier dozes off instantly, pillow in hand. Lloyd smirks, standing over him, claiming he knew exactly how Javier's insomnia would get cured. Lloyd exposes the trick. Javier first fell asleep to magic, so he just swapped it out with his textbook instead. He smugly explains how boring his reinforced concrete book is, saying it's deadlier than any spell when it comes to knocking someone out. Lloyd laughs like a maniac, flames blazing behind him, declaring that Javier's swordsmanship is now his. A fresh morning vibe, sun blazing and birds chirping. Perfect setup for pain disguised as training. Javier looks all serious and shiny, casually dropping the bomb. 50 laps around the perimeter. Go! Lloyd's face says it all. Complete disbelief. Like, bro, did you just say 50? He just turns without saying a word, ready to get it done. Javier's shocked. This dude actually started running without whining? That's new. And there he goes, running laps nonstop, while Javier watches, still trying to figure out what's gotten into him. Lloyd's been running laps nonstop, while Javier watches closely, arms behind his back like a strict coach. But Lloyd finally snaps, yelling that he hates this training and begs Javier to just teach him some real sword skills already. He's out there doing laps, steady footsteps echoing, proving he's actually serious about this training. But when he circles back, he's grinning like a maniac, throwing shade, basically saying, "You thought I'd bail, didn't you? But you didn't see this coming." He's huffing hard but still pushing through his laps, sweat dripping down his face. While gasping for air, he points at Javier and calls him out, basically exposing the exact excuse Javier would have used to deny teaching him. Javier flinches, yep, dead on. The dude just nailed his hidden thought with scary accuracy. Lloyd's hyped up, sprinting with full confidence like he's about to conquer the world. Out of nowhere, the system trolls him, saying his annoying brat skill leveled up. He snaps back, yelling at it like he knows it's lying. He keeps running, but now you can hear the exhaustion kicking in. His steps are heavy, and he's panting hard. He's gasping for air, drenched in sweat, but still pushing himself forward with everything he's got. Even then, he admits, compared to his past life in Korea, this grind feels like nothing. Back then, he had no one, no family to welcome him, just lonely mornings waking up in a cramped boarding house room. He grinds through the day, hauling bricks up to the rooftop, breaking his back just to survive. And when the sun goes down, there's no rest. He spends his nights loading and unloading trucks, hustling just to get by. Every drop of sweat, every gasp of air, just to keep himself alive. But deep down, he clings to one hope, that someday, all this struggle will finally pay off. Suho keeps grinding, carrying bricks through the night, convincing himself life will get better someday. Out of nowhere, a radiant light tells him he's been working too hard and that he actually deserves more. He reaches out, desperate, pushing for just a little more, clinging to that tiny chance of change. Suho's face says it all, exhausted, broken, and realizing he can't reach that light no matter how hard he tries. He stretches his hand one last time, desperate to grab it, but it's just too far. And then, collapse. The bricks scatter, his body gives out, and reality hits harder than any dream he was chasing. Lloyd's gasping for air, But in his head, he's comparing this training to the brutal grind he went through in his past life. That pain, that despair back then, this is nothing. With a determined grin, he pushes forward, shouting that this is nothing compared to what he endured before. From a distance, Javier watches as Lloyd keeps running, refusing to stop, proving his resolve. Javier finally gives in, saying if Lloyd's that determined, he'll teach him sword techniques. Lloyd's exhausted, but hyped at the same time. System pops up, approval rating +1 from Javier. But reality check, his total approval is still sitting at -28. Another notification, he gains 18 RP for improving his bond with a key character. His total RP climbs up to 29. The scene shifts to nightfall, setting up a tense and serious mood. Lloyd's father is fuming, angry that his son dared to disrespect a knight who served their family faithfully for 5 generations. His father sighs in disappointment, admitting he thought Lloyd had finally come to his senses, only to realize he was wrong. The Lord straight up says he has no reason to stop the duel, but he warns, don't go overboard, just knock some sense into his son without doing serious damage. The knight accepts the order respectfully, bowing to his lord. The knight admits it. Duels don't always go the way you want. His tone is cold, almost like he's already planning an excuse. He walks with purpose, thinking to himself that if Lloyd pushes him too far, he won't hesitate to cut off his head. And if the Baron has a problem, he's got no issue silencing him too. His face twists with ambition. He's ready to kill not just the Baron, but the Baroness as well, disguising it all as suicide. As he strides through the Grand Hall, he's smirking. Lloyd's defiance is just fuel, speeding up the timeline of his escape to bigger and better places. A month flashes by in the blink of an eye, and the scene shifts right to the big day. The stage is set, and the tension's already in the air. Now it's go time. Lloyd and his opponent stand face to face in the arena. The crowd's buzzing, murmurs everywhere. Everyone's waiting to see how this duel plays out. Up in the stands, the family and allies are watching with heavy expressions. The pressure's real, and all eyes are locked on what's about to unfold. The knight stares Lloyd down and asks if he's ready for this duel. Lloyd plants his shovel firmly into the ground, standing his ground. Lloyd kicks his shovel up from the ground, smooth and sharp. Without missing a beat, he swings it onto his shoulder like it's second nature. With the shovel resting on his shoulder, he grins and declares he's ready to knock his opponent's lights out.